Big round of applause for Elaine White. One more time for Elaine White. Come on. There we go.
Hi, everybody. It's 2011. It's February 2011. I'm standing in the parking lot of the Grand Plaza Hotel the Crown Plaza Hotel in Dallas, Texas. I've just had dinner with my son and my husband. We took him out because he was going on a big trip, an Indiana Jones kind of trip. My son was not afraid to go anywhere. He actually had traveled to over 35 countries. And now he's going to go to the Middle East. And the Arab Spring is just about to start. So during dinner, he kept us in stitches. He was always so funny. And so we talked about his itinerary. They were actually going to land a plane on the Amazon River when they brought it back. And it was crazy. So we're saying goodbye in the parking lot. And I go to hug him. And I hear a voice in my head. Now, for those of you who think it's weird that you hear voices, I mean, think about it. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and you heard a voice that said, "You look fat in that dress"? Or if you're a man, you stand in front of the mirror and you admire yourself and you say, "Oh yeah, I'm getting laid tonight." So this voice says, "This is your last hug." And I argue with it. I say, "No, stop that. You're just being a worried mother. This is not your last hug. He's flown all over the world. He'll be fine." But the voice is still there as I'm watching him drive his white Acura out of the parking lot. And I was rethinking our lives. We hadn't always had the best relationship. When his dad and I divorced, I got a letter from Josh that said, "You're dead to me." He chose to live with his father. My daughter chose to live with me. And so it took years to build back the love that Josh and I had between us. So he eventually started calling me his favorite person in the world. And then he called me the queen of everything. So I'm known in my family as the queen of everything. In fact, my dear friend bought me an apron that says the queen of everything on it, and it wasn't fancy enough, so she sewed pearls on it. And I think I had that apron on. It was Sunday about 4 o'clock, about 10 days later. And I was about to cook dinner when the phone rang. And it was my former mother-in-law. Her voice was unmistakable. I recognized it right away. She sounded like Edith Bunker in All in the Family. And so she said, "Have you talked to anybody?" And I said, "Well, no, what are you talking about?" She said, "Well, there was a plane crash, and they didn't make it." So I don't know, I just went numb. I don't know what I said next other than probably, "Why didn't the embassy call me?" So turns out it was really true. And we got his body back. I decided to bury him in Dallas. And we got his body back via British Airways. And my cousin owns a funeral home in the Dallas area, so he went with me. And we got his pine box back with his name written in black magic marker by some thoughtful Arab. and I was sitting in the seat of the passenger seat of the coach. They don't call it a hearse anymore. And I just stared at my boy's coffin. It felt like he wasn't important enough to print a shipping label out. And so we drove to the funeral home, and on the way there, I'm telling my cousin, Randy, I'm a strong woman, and I know there was a fire after the crash, but I have got to see my boy's body. I don't know if you can find a finger or a toe, something that I can actually see. He said, well, let me work with them and come back in the morning. So the next morning, we arrive. We're in the family viewing room, and then there's the pine box, the damn pine box with we had flowers on top of it, and so Randy walks in. Elaine, I can't let you see him. Randy, I will see him. No, I'm not going to let you put yourself through that. He said, but I do have something for you. So he goes out, comes back with a Ziploc bag, and my boy was very handsome. He was very attractive, but I always liked it when he was clean shaven. But he was traveling in the Middle East, so he needed to have a beard. No offense to any of the men in the group who have facial hair, but I insisted that my husband shave off his beard before I'd even go out with him. I can be bossy, because I am the queen of everything. And so he comes out with the baggie of Joshua's whiskers. And I could hear in my head, well, Mom, I guess you like facial hair now. And my friend bought me a pendant. I should have worn it tonight. We stuffed the whiskers down in the beautiful pendant that she bought. Well, the funeral is March the 11th, and I'm standing beside his grave. My daughter, my husband, my friends, and I see the grave keepers lowering the vault down into the grave. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not the queen of everything. If I were the queen of everything, I could have been able to stop him from going. Why didn't I stop him? I don't think I can be the queen of everything anymore. And so the funeral's over. My daughter and family, 2 granddaughters, and my son-in-law, they need to drive back from Dallas to Austin. And she's here tonight, by the way. So my granddaughters want pizza and pasta. They want Grammy to buy lunch before they go back. So we go to Olive Garden. And they seat us. The server comes up to the table. He says, hi, my name is Josh. I'm going to be your server. And I start crying. What'd I say? And we told him, well, that night with other family members at Morton's Steakhouse, same thing. Hi, I'm Josh. I'm going to be your server. Crazy. How does this happen? So, but I needed to take care of some last details. And before I left, a couple of days later, I took Josh's uncle and aunt out for lunch to an upscale Mexican restaurant. And I see the server approaching. And he looks like he probably speaks Spanish. So I, in Spanish, said, Oiga, usted no se llama Josué, ¿verdad? Your name's not Josh, is it? No, señora, mi nombre es Jesús. Oh, we can relax. It's not Josh. It's just Jesus. So holidays are hard. Birthdays are hard. I usually try to take myself out of town. About a year after Josh died, I decided to take myself to the Women and Happiness Conference in New York City. So I'm sitting In the session, there are probably 1,000 women there, and I am bored stiff. This is not feeling happy. And so I go to the conference organizer, and I said, now, don't you have another track of the conference? Didn't I read something about that? Oh, yes, we have James von Prague here. Who's James von Prague? Well, he's a world-renowned psychic. So I go, okay. I sit in the session with about 200 to 300 women. James von Prague gets up on the stage, and he says, I want to talk to the mother of Joshua. I want to, he was a world traveler, he spoke several languages, he was fearless, and he was kind of a wiseacre. And so I stand up, and my legs are trembling like they are tonight, and I'm listening, and he says, Joshua wants to tell you, don't be upset, Mama. Now, what woman can lose her child and not be upset? But that does sound like something Joshua would say. And he said, it was my time. And he told me some other things, and then he said, Joshua wants you to know that he is putting a tiara on your head. So I'm back to being the queen of everything. I decided to celebrate Christmas this year, which I hadn't done in a long time. And my daughter and her family came the day after Thanksgiving, which was always the tradition that Josh and I would go pick out the tree and decorate it. And so we did that in Josh's honor this year. And I'm determined to live the rest of my life listening to the voice, to be strong and courageous, and to enjoy the time I have left.